So, in the book, we read about communication with your coworkers. You need good communication with your coworkers for everything to run smoothly in the office and so that things don't become unorganized and just a mess. You want to make sure you're being direct and getting your main point across when you're talking to people you work with. Communication is always going to be a two-way street, so you want to start out by making sure that you're really listening and hearing what they have to tell you. It's also important that you choose what you need to say and when you need to say it. You don't want to interrupt your coworkers while they're talking to a patient, or while they're with the patient, or while they're talking to a doctor. Whenever there's miscommunication, you want to just address that quickly and get that fixed and cleared up, and just always admit when you make a mistake. And you're going to be spending a lot of time with your coworkers, so it's important to build good relationships and to work in a positive, stress-free environment. You're going to be seeing your coworkers more often than your own family, so everyone wants to be happy and get along well. So patients in the office can tell when things aren't running so smoothly and when you don't have the best communication. So they'll be able to sense right away how things usually work around the office and how well you actually work with each other. And this can affect their overall view of the office as a whole. So the key to successful communication with your coworkers is teamwork. When everybody on the team feels like they're valuable and important, everybody's motivated to do well and to try to do better. Everybody should have their own role, and everybody should feel respected and needed and wanted. You need to be flexible and respect the way that other people perform tasks. Just because somebody does something differently from you, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. And if they need or ask for assistance with that task, you need to be flexible to their needs. And it's important to make sure that you have self-confidence. You want to be confident in the task that you're performing and need to be ready to perform them without somebody sitting there telling you what to do all the time. You need to step in and take the initiative to do what really needs to be done. You always want to make sure that you appreciate your coworkers and that you're thankful for everything that they help you with. You don't want to take advantage of them and expect them to do any kind of work for you or anything like that. If you see somebody cleaning or doing something and you have free time and you're not working on something right then you need to jump in and help them finish what they started. Don't just stand around and work on the one thing that you're doing. If somebody's busy and they're getting behind and you see that, then you need to be sure that you go in there and help them out. Another thing that you want to make sure you do is you want to think before you say something. You want to make sure that what you're saying is appropriate and respectful, and you don't want to ever get too emotional. You may get the wrong first impression of somebody, so just remember that the first impression is not always the right one. You may think that you knew somebody and how they were, but they can actually end up being different than what you thought. So don't judge a book by its cover. And it's good to later discuss the ups and downs of the days you had with your coworkers. Just don't get too personal and talk about your personal lives too much. And just remember that you're not always right about everything. Another thing that the book mentioned was stress in the dental office. So stress is very common in the dental office. It's important, really important, that you keep everything together in front of your patients and your coworkers and everybody. You don't want to let your emotions get a hold of you. You don't want this to affect the way you talk or treat your patients. How you handle the stress is what really matters. You can get stressed in the dental office in many different ways. People making a lot of appointments, lack of good communication, maybe you're short on staff that day, or you just have a lot of things to do all at one time. You just need to take a deep breath and relax and focus on your job and doing what you need to do. It's really important that you manage your stress. This can decrease stress overall. You can take time for yourself when you get home and just focus on getting rest. Don't worry about the day you had or the kind of day that you'll have tomorrow. And exercising and eating healthy can also help as well. Because stress in your life can lead to conflict in the dental office, and there's always going to be conflict. That's something you can't really avoid in life. Conflict is necessary for problem solving and for interpersonal relationships. Once you learn how to control your stress, though, you'll be able to make good, rational decisions about patient care and management. You're able to just function better overall when you reduce your stress. You just give your brain a break. So that's why it's so important. When you are trying to fix your conflicts, you need to be professional about it and be able to handle it calmly. You need to be specific about your conflict when you're talking about it. And instead of mentioning what all is wrong, maybe just try to mention how you could help more and just be more of use in that certain situation that you're describing. If you see that someone else has been doing wrong, or you see something that you don't think is exactly right, or someone was treated unfairly, just try your best to not get involved and stay out of it. Keep yourself out of it. Just let the situation handle itself. And another thing you want to do is you want to try to depersonalize the conflicts in the office. Instead of saying like me versus you want to say us versus the problem. This sounds more professional, and it's also in the best interest of the office as a whole. Just remember that you're not always right in every situation. You have to put yourself in another person's shoes and really think about that situation. You need to be open-minded and listen to the other side always. This is a very important skill, and it leads to less misunderstanding in the office. Always be sure to never involve the dentist or the office manager. You don't want to do that. You'll just make yourself look bad, and they'll think that you can't handle or figure out small difficulties in the office. You don't want that at all. Be sure not to involve any other coworkers. You don't want to get anyone involved that doesn't need to be involved or doesn't have to be involved with the issue. You don't want to engage in drama or start it. You need to limit your complaints to just the people involved in that argument. Sometimes it's best to just keep your opinion to yourself. You need to be able to recognize the difference between conflict and harassment, though. If the problem gets too out of control, then it's best to take it to someone who can do something about it. That's when the dentist or the office manager should be involved, is when it goes from conflict to harassment. If you come to this point, just remain calm and tell them everything that they need to know to figure out the situation. And just remember to not take things too personally. Your other coworker, could have just been having a bad day and they didn't mean anything by it, what they said. They really didn't mean any harm towards you, so just keep that in mind. I personally have never had any conflict with any other coworkers in the office outside of work or related to work, but if I did, then I would talk to that person at the right time and handle it professionally and discuss through it and talk through it and be open-minded and see what we can do to resolve the issue. And with stress, I would just be take a deep breath, stay calm, and just take time for myself outside of work so that I could take care of and do my job better.